In the underbelly of the dimly lit enormous skyscrapers, there lies a sense of paranoia and a variety of fears surrounding the world of Blade Runner that's ready to burst out at any moment. These existing fears deeply impact his characters, forcing him to clarify questions and aspects about himself that aren't given any easy answers to. However, these fears display a level of humanity from them that allows for new directions and realizations about the truth and reality of their existences to be given. The fear of the unknown is deeply woven into the existence of the replicants. I believe this theme is also heavily affecting it for Beckham, although this fear might explicitly feel very few scenes that could be interpreted as a direct criticism. When Beckett is called into the office of his career van for the woman out of the Blade Runner, the following things occur.
The old Blade Runner. I need your magic.
It was quit when I come in here, Brian. I'm twice as quit now.
I prefer unusual from that to selected stage job. This particularly cool and fair and well because it's a lot of things to get signed from the university to confirm that certain results of having to do with applicants who are much more technologically advanced and stronger than we is. Whereas this seems to be the patient that has been several years since his daughter's child of a blue banner. So his body and I are quite the same as they were all the time ago. This video contributes in fact to that also choosing to get there here and desire to stay out of the job since it could very much spell unfamiliar consequences that is not prepared to face. This aspect of fear is explored further during his first encounter with Rachel and the usage of the void count test. The purpose of the void count test being an interrogation procedure to discover who or isn't human. We as a society have succumbed to the fear of being left in the dark regarding the true nature of replicants and a lack of faith in their own abilities to discover them. This feeling of dread hangs around Deckard after doing the test on Rachel and realizing that she is a replicant. Had they met each other in any other scenario, he would have assumed that she was human as well.
The ever-growing seed of uncertainty that hangs around Deckard is halted for a moment when he delivers the news of Rachel's true identity that was unknown to her, and witnessing her reaction to the news that was given, or that was told. His surprised reaction could be a sign of him realizing that the fear of the unknown isn't exclusively bound to him. Realizing the weight of his words has made him snap back to the reality of a person's authentic feeling, which was something that he was largely unfamiliar with, considering his feelings are constantly being drowned out by alcohol. This situation also plants a question in Deckard's head: which is a better display of human value, the work we're assigned to complete or the compassion that could be shared with others? This trepidation also extends to the audience as the unicorn that appears in his dreams. Feed is the fear of uncertainty that lurks within, with this breadcrumb of information being the only thing that we know about Deckard's inner thoughts and his identity. It also presents a question in the form of an existential fear. If in the universe of Blade Runner, memories can be fabricated or manipulated, how can the characters be sure their identities being real as well? Fear also extends to Rachel. She prefers what form she previously perceived as real as were fake all along. An identity crisis within her ability to form a proper understanding, perceive reality, a sense of alienation, uncertainty that plagues her mind. But in the ending of the movie, this fear is given a reason to fight against, which will be expanded later on in the ending of this video. The fear of obsolescence is deeply woven into the existence of the replicants and their stance on society. However, this theme is also heavily reflected into the character of J.F. Sebastian. Born with a disease called Methuselah syndrome, which greatly increases his glands, leading to an accelerated death. A bitter irony for him to swallow, considering the name Methuselah comes from the oldest person in the Bible. Although J.F. Sebastian is a brilliant man, he is plagued by an ever-consuming feeling of loneliness and obsolescence that hangs around him, which is displayed to us by the shot of him and Pris entering his apartment and his inventions being the only thing that had previously kept him company. His obliviousness to Roy and Pris's manipulation of their shared condition is a representation of a man who is desperate to dispel the effects of a fated existence that he had not chosen.
From his perspective, Roy and Chris's plan to confront Tyrell about their lifespan could be an opportunity for him or a golden ticket for him to display that his life.
He sees Roy's plan to confront Tyrell about their lifespan as a golden ticket of an opportunity for him to display that his life has value and is not meant to be shrouded in obscurity, much like how his previous years of life were spent. But it also serves as an opportunity for him to gain the companionship that he desperately yearned for. However, after Tyrell informs Roy that their 4-year lifespan cannot be changed, also us via a radio station, murdered off screen, which further exemplifies the feeling of obsolescence that followed him throughout his life and his death. Not only does his conclusion to his character make Sheriff Sebastian arguably one of Blade Runner's most tragic characters, Roy's violent outbursts serves as an outcome for those grappling with a fear of obsolescence in a society that is obsessed with progress, while not regarding the effects this same progress will have on its creations. Although this fear is shared with most of the characters in this movie, it is made glaringly obvious regarding Roy and Deckard's final confrontation with one another and the parallels between them. They both have a woman that they deeply care for, are not able to fully confront the fear of the unknown that plagues their lives, and they are both deeply shackled by the fear of morality. However, there lies an intriguing question and a dilemma and a variety of questions regarding Roy's pursuit for immortality. If he were to succeed in his goal in achieving more life, the fight for survival that gave his existence purpose would vanish, and he'd be left to confront an even more terrifying conclusion or question. Will he be able to find a greater purpose for his existence without the constant threat of death looming over him? This paradoxical nature of his yearning for life, yet approaching the realization of the existential horror of an extended life, brings forth the question of would the freedom that Roy desperately yearns for be something that he would be able to make good use out of? If not, what would be the actual purpose of him fighting for it anyways? Perhaps it's within his final words as he gained the realization of him prioritizing survival over living, admitting unable to gain more meaning from his life outside from constantly running away and fighting against his fears. The experiences he had within his life would be discarded and quickly forgotten, much like his friends or anyone that suffered a similar situation like him. Roy's last word has a lasting impact on Deckard because it's at this point where Deckard finally realizes the similarities that he and Roy shared. Roy's death has opened Deckard up to the realization that if he stayed in the city of Los Angeles any longer, he'd keep on enabling a cycle of violence and fear from the system that he was a part of, which would cause him to abandon his humanity and spend his final years alive searching for the remainders of it. For now, he sees Roy as the warning sign of what happens when you end up being completely consumed by your fear and decides to combat the fears that exist within him instead. Although Blade Runner's ambiguous ending could be seen as an addendum to the initial bleak nature of the film, and feeding into the fear of the unknown, it could be seen as a hopeful ending as well, providing a sense of relief to the overlooming terrors within Deckard and Rachel. Deckard's decision to take Rachel along with him to leave Los Angeles and asking if he loves her overrides the initial prejudice he had against her, as understanding the perspective of a replicant's existence has increased his sympathy for her now, wanting to save her as much time as he could with her, which feeds into the message conveyed in the movie's final moments. Deckard and Rachel do not know exactly where their new path lies. However, their newfound courage to embrace the unknown of a new way of living, acknowledging that their fears will persist no matter where they go, is a testament to how deeply the experiences they've had within the presence of one another has deeply affected their worldviews. The comfort that exists within each other's presences has waken them up to to the belief that a more meaningful existence lies within the hope of the potential, within the futures that they are able to craft for themselves. And maybe knowing that is enough to make them push themselves a little bit more towards a life where a more meaningful purpose lies further ahead, even if it means having to confront the fears that live within that very same existence.